This is the Washington Times front page for Thursday, October 5th, 2023. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. House Republican leaders are maneuvering to fill the vacant Speaker's chair with their next in line, Majority Leader Steve Scalise, while Ohio Representative Jim Jordan also has thrown his hat into the ring. Susan Ferricchio, Kerry Pickett, and Alex Miller report Jordan's candidacy is likely to split the House Republican conference and could throw the battle for the Speaker's gavel into prolonged uncertainty. The chamber adjourned after designating North Carolina Representative Patrick McHenry to serve as temporary Speaker. McHenry could be filling in for a while, Republicans said, as uncertainty grows over finding consensus for a new Speaker. Under House rules, McHenry cannot conduct legislative business beyond the Speaker's election, which is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said the U.S. has an acute and immediate need to build a border wall in southern Texas, and he issued an order waiving 26 federal laws to speed up construction. Stephen Dinan reports Mayorkas said his hands were tied by congressional spending bills requiring money to be used for border wall construction. The administration delayed for several years and pleaded with Congress to revoke the funds, but those efforts failed. The Department of Homeland Security posted the announcement with few details outlining the construction in Starr County, Texas, which is part of a busy Border Patrol sector seeing, quote, high illegal entry. The Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act gives the Homeland Security Secretary the power to waive laws when necessary to facilitate border construction. The Clean Air Act, Safe Drinking Water Act, and Endangered Species Act were some of the federal laws waived to make way for construction that will use funds from a congressional appropriation from 2019. Speaking of the border, Texas takes its border showdown with President Biden to a panel of judges, arguing that the immigrants crossing the southern border illegally constitutes an invasion that the state has a right to repel. Stephen Dinan reports the state says a 1,000-foot-long string of buoys in the Rio Grande, which Texas calls marine floating barriers, has nearly eliminated illegal crossings and drug smuggling near Eagle Pass. The Biden administration has sued to remove the floating wall. Officials said Texas didn't obtain federal permission, and the buoys violated the Rivers and Harbors Appropriation Act of 1899. The record-high number of violent car thefts this year has spared no part of the nation's capital. Matt Delaney reports the spree has left the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department on the defensive as it tries to rein in the rampant and unpredictable carjackings. Metropolitan Police have recorded 757 carjackings so far this year, more than double last year's 360 documented through October 3rd. This year's running total also shadows the end-of-year total of 484 incidents in 2022, which was a record high for the city. Every police district in Washington has reported dramatic increases, including the more suburban 2nd District that covers Van Ness in Northwest, up 175%, and the 6th District east of the Anacostia River, which is up 193%. And finally, Ukraine is facing tough questions about the long-term viability of its war against Russia, as key Western allies warned they are running out of ammunition to send. Ben Wolfgang reports senior European Union officials reportedly were negotiating with Hungary over the next major European aid package for Ukraine. European officials say Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, an outspoken critic of military aid to Ukraine, won't sign off on the next aid package without getting access to more than $13 billion in frozen Hungarian development aid. The collapse of European aid to Ukraine would be disastrous for the country, but Western military officials said another concern is the rapid dwindling of artillery and other vital weapons that Ukraine desperately needs. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times,